Austin Clark sets the record straight on Kenneth Grant. And once again, reason one, media zero. I gotta love it. We'll talk about that. Also, our new wide receiver coach, Robert Prince, discussed Tyreek Hill. On top of that, Anthony Weaver addressed Jalen Ramsey and basically put the situation to bed with what he said. Plus, Cam Wolfe discusses a potential Jalen Ramsey deal and where we're at right now with all that. So we got plenty to talk about. We're going to talk about the NFL introducing a new award for players. Plus, the Dolphins added another quarterback. So smash that like button. Subscribe if you are new. Oh boy. And yeah, we getting into this one.
Loses the football. Touchdown! Got it!
You have got to be kidding me.
Jalen Waddle has a Dolphin touchdown. And he will score!
Field down the near side, man open. Touchdown!
The run from Tua Tagovailoa.
Touchdown!
He's going deep. It's going over the touchdown again. Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan. Let's go!
What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason. We're back here for another one. Appreciate all y'all coming through. Rolling solo dolo as Neil is out in North Carolina for his son's baseball tournament. And it was meant to be anyways. Let's be real right now with everything that's going on in these Twitter streets, man. You know, let's be real here. In case you aren't on Twitter and you haven't caught up, right? Y'all saw my video on the weekend where I called out the media for bad takes. Well, people are taking it personal. Poopar and Shad unfollowed me. I said what I had to say about them. That's dealt with. But good old Omar Kelly continues, you know, right? Trigger fingers turn into Twitter fingers over here. All right. You know, like that's what we are here. We're dealing with Twitter fingers, no trigger fingers over here. So I'm going to be real here. Okay. He spoke on YouTubers and now he's trying to blanket and like carpet bomb YouTubers over this. You know, while he has a show with two YouTubers, while he's on YouTube trying to make YouTube money. And specifically when he talked about my YouTube money, I alluded to in the last video that a YouTuber, I paid him. I'll tell you the exact story. Omar Kelly left or got dropped from I Am Athlete. Him and Brandon Marshall fell out. That's their story to discuss. Okay, Brandon Marshall isn't all there. I can say that from, you know, my conversations with Nick Hicks and stuff like that. You know, Brandon Marshall, you know, elevator doesn't go to the top there. So I'm not even going to hold that against him. But when he got dropped from I Am Athlete, okay, when he started doing his little podcast with Alan Poupar, okay, and we'll get into that in a second. When we did the Cover 4 podcast, I was paying him to come on. Okay, he wasn't on a salary with Poupar, all right? He had a child and a wife at the time, all right? Doing it a favor, okay? And I've done that. Okay, one of my draft shows, I'll give an example. One of my draft shows back in the day, one of my live draft panels, I'm not going to name the person because me and this person are really tight, and I'm not even throwing him on the bus. I'm just showing there's evidence of me doing this outside of him. They had lost their writing job with a few spots. They came on my live chat and said, man, you're going to be up there for 3 hours, no problem. You know, I sent them $100 US, which when you do the conversion to Canadian, that's over $130 Canadian, $140 Canadian. I got no problem helping out people who need to be helped out. But I don't go around talking about it and putting it on. This was like 3 or 4 years ago. Okay? So that's how long it's been. I don't talk about the stuff I do behind the scenes because I don't need to. I don't need to validate myself to anybody. So, but I'm using that as a contextual point for this discussion. So I went out there. I thought I was helping out. I thought I was being a nice guy. On top of that, All right. If you go back and you notice how when they started collabing with content creators, me and Dougley were the first two up on that channel. There's a reason why. Do you know why we were? Because behind the scenes, me and Dougley were the ones helping them with all the tips and tricks we had learned over the years with our YouTube channels. Because why? Funny enough, they'll come out here and they'll talk about YouTubers and they'll talk about YouTube money, but they were trying to get a YouTube channel off the ground to get that YouTube money. So we were trying to help them get monetized as fast as possible. I didn't talk about it. Had no reason to talk about it. But now we want to get personal with me. All right? We really want to go there? You really want to go there? Don't look at my pockets, man. All right? Don't worry about my pockets. You know, I'm in a $1.2 million house. You put Perk, Poopar, and Omar in the same room, and they still don't make as much money as my wife makes, let alone what I'm doing. Okay? So don't worry about my pockets. They good, brother. All right? They good. With or without this YouTube, they good over here, all right? And they've been good since before I met my wife. And people like Dolphin fan who are in the chat, they know my history. Richmond Web Ballgame, they know my past. They know I was out getting paper. I'm good, baby. So don't worry about that. That's the first thing I'm going to say, right? You want to get personal? You want to discuss. Now I see, hey, oh, tonight's going to be an explosive show, and we're going to talk about this and that. You want to get personal, bro? You want to get personal? Let's get personal. What are you guys going to talk about tonight? Eh? What are you going to talk about tonight, Omar? Huh? What are you going to talk about? You're going to talk about, oh, I don't know, maybe 2023 offseason when TD Talk was live streaming from training camp and he got shut down because you went to the Miami Dolphins and let them know he was doing that? You're going to talk about that? You're going to talk about, I don't know, when you went on the Joe Rose and were berating TD Talk on the Joe Rose show, and TD Talk in rebuttal was doing multiple hour-long shows talking about you and ripping you apart? You going to talk about that? Or are we still going to talk about the 1.5, 2 minutes I spent on you in a video, which, where was the lie? Tell me where was the lie. Tell me where the lie was with everything I called out. And another thing he's trying to say, I'm jealous. Jealous of what? It's quite known me and TD don't get along. I invited TD Talk on the show last year because fans wanted it. And I'm here for the fans. I do what the fans want. Okay? And I told all the fans this. This is no new news. All right? I don't like Alan Poupart. I never have. I had him on in 2020. Notice I had him on once in 2020. Never came back on. Gee, I wonder why. When he's he's got the smallest following out of all of you guys. I got a bigger following than Poupart, okay? And I've never had the team or newspapers, $1 million or $1 billion conglomerates backing me up, and look at my reputation, look at my credibility, look at what I've built. And I ain't never had that. So do we really want to go here with this? Take a note from X, take a note from Twitter. Just look at the likes. You're struggling to get 20 to 30 likes on all these subliminal shots and veiled shots you're taking at me, while my stuff is doing 200 plus likes. Again, look at the likes. Look at the positive response I'm getting. And let's keep it to the ball stuff. I've been keeping it ball, but y'all been wanting to get personal with me. You keep poking the bear. I see you crashing out on X. You really want to go here? Look at the likes. Look at the positive response I'm getting. That's not a me problem. That's a you problem. And I'm going to say, Shad, remember follow these creators who don't lift stuff from the web. Well, I'm going to tell you, follow the content creators that know ball. And follow the writers that do a damn good job. Go follow David Thronos. Go follow Barry Jackson. Go follow Travis Wingfield. Go follow Cam Wolfe. Go follow Marcel Louis-Jacques. Right? Go follow Kyle Krabs. Go follow Ryder McConville. Go follow the 3-yard pre-carry guys. All these guys who have built followings and built their credibility up with zero help from major conglomerates backing them. And all they've had in the front of their mind is you. These people don't care about you. They don't care about you. They'll go get another job at another paper or whatever, and y'all are in the back of their mind. Y'all know that. But we out here, content creators, do it for the love of the game. So, you know what? I've already spent enough time on this. First 10 minutes of the show, that's enough for me. I said what I gotta say. But I don't know who these people think they are to make it personal. Because I came up on all y'all in the media section last year training camp. And when I come down there again this year, don't think I ain't gonna do the same. Like, y'all want to make it personal? I kept it ball. I kept it strictly about everyone's takes and their ability to evaluate film and their ability to provide analysis. But y'all want to get in your feelings and make it personal with me? You really want that? Do you really want that? Okay? Out here talking about, oh, I've helped content creators get credentials. Well, look at what I just said about you shutting down a content creator who was live streaming from camp, who you're now working with. You basically got him blackballed behind the scenes with the Miami Dolphins. But you helping. Okay. All right. All right. Cool. Whatever, bro. Whatever. Unbelievable. Shout out to Penn. She donated 20 Phinside The NFL gift memberships. I appreciate you for coming through with that. Appreciate it big time. Can't we all get along? Hey, I was keeping it football, bro. It was all football takes. When I'm talking about your ability to watch film, you want to take that personal? That's football. Let's be real. All I'm saying is put him in a film room, put him in front of the chalkboard, put Kyle Krabs, put Travis, put me in the room. Oh, what's going down there? And you want another? I'll give you one more. My YouTube fans, y'all getting a little bit of the clip here. Y'all want another one? All right. Shout out to all the fans who have supported me, all the subscribers who have supported me. And you ready for this one? Shout out to all the media members that have hopped into my DMs and shown me the love and said to me, hey, bro, I support what you're doing. Appreciate y'all. And shout out to the content creators who have done the exact same thing. And I don't even gotta drop names. They're probably watching. They know who they are. So salute to you. I appreciate you. All right? So just remember that when you're sitting in the media section. All right? And yeah, the difference between me and these people is I'm the most transparent person you'll ever see up here on the platform. I am, what you see is what you get with me. All right, I don't act like I'm something I'm not in front of the screen for you guys. You guys get it from the heart. That's it. I don't act like I'm something I'm not. These people, they'll smile on screen. Behind the scenes, the knives come out. And you know why? Because I've already told y'all. Why do you think I was telling y'all they view us as competition and threat? And that ain't even half the stories. I can keep going. But the other stuff that to tell is not my stuff to tell. So I'm not going to go there. But I know even more if we really want to dig into that. And I can show how these people really are. But I ain't going to do it. I put a little bit out today. See, I keep trickling down the info. I ain't got to release it all at once. But I got plenty more where that came from. So let's pump the brakes, all right, on the Twitter fingers. Because I was keeping it ball-oriented. By the way, someone remind me, how did that whole Salvin Ahmed Devon Achane is another Salvin Ahmed. How did that take work out? How did that? Because there were multiple people in the media pushing that. That was not one person. Yes, one person said it, but multiple people pushed that in the media. How did that work out, huh? By the way, let me know, because apparently, according to some of the media members, Jesse Davis was the best, one of the best offensive linemen, we had over the last, 8 years. Let me know when they put Jesse Davis's number up in the Ring of Honor, by the way. I'm still waiting on that one to happen, the way these guys talked about it. Shout out to Russell. He says, you deliver the best informative Dolphins content. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. It is what it is, baby. It is what it is. So, whatever. Anyways, I got a couple other things I do want to talk about. The Tush push ended up not getting banned. All right? The Tush push ended up not banned. And I think what shocked people the most was Dolphin fans that we voted against banning it. We were one of the 10 teams that voted against it. And then on top of that, I think what shocked people is we haven't really used the Tush push at all. Like at all. We haven't used it at all. So we haven't benefited from it. We haven't gained anything from it. But, that's still, right? That still didn't stop them from going against it. And you know what I think that kind of was? I think that was kind of a play off how the whole cheat motion thing. I really do think how that was a whole play off how the league embraced and accepted the cheat motion. So I just don't think fundamentally they were going to stop something that wasn't technically illegal. You know what I mean? So, is there a new rule for the playoff ranking? No, that's seeding. They were going to change the seeding to just record based, and then it ended up not passing. It ended up just not passing at all. So, it is what it is. It is what it is. I think that what they're saying is that, and I talked about this post on the show, and the reason why I talked about it, because even if it didn't pass, even if they didn't pass it, apparently they're going to revisit it they're going to 18 games. Get ready. Like, they're already talking about it. They are going to 18 games. It's about to happen. And because it's going to 18 games, they said they're going to redo the seeding. And they're probably going to revisit this. So expect that seeding to be revisited when we get into 18 games. All right? That's what I've been told. So, we'll see how it goes. That's what I've been told. Thanks, I heard about it and didn't know the outcome. Yeah, that's what the word is right now, I guess. We'll see how it goes. They say one thing. Look at the Tush push last year. It got almost getting banned this year. It got a lot more traction this year in terms of voting. You know what I mean? So, we'll see how it goes, but even the Tush push got more traction this year in terms of banning it. So the seeding will probably get more traction too, right? It is what it is. Yeah, the word on the streets is that we are going to have a black jersey this year, and it's probably not going to be Miami Vice. It's going to be teal and orange. Black, teal, and orange, apparently, is where we're going here. So, we'll see how it ends up. But, I know people have said we're going to be debuting them in the Jets game and such, too. So, we'll see. I don't really... Listen, when I talk to my people, I'm not asking about jerseys. All right? When I was breaking the news about Ramsey and stuff, I don't even think, actually. That's not, I just don't even think to ask about it. I've been more focused on trying to find stuff out behind the scenes, what's going on, right? So, I didn't even think about it. So, yeah, anyways. And then I got to correct myself. When I was talking about Damon Arnette, I was talking about an open carry state. I apologize. I meant a stand your ground state, basically a concealed carry state. That's what I meant to say. I apologize. I do have to, hey, look at me. Whenever I'm wrong, I'll come up here and I'll tell y'all, hey, I was wrong, or I got to correct myself. I got no problem doing that. All right. People can call me egotistical and arrogant. I'll tell you one thing. Between me and you guys right now, so between me and the internet, you can name them, and behind the scenes, 95% of the people, with platforms, whether it's with a conglomerate behind them or whether it's a content creator, a platform they've created on themselves, a lot of it, a lot of these people are egotistical, okay? I mean, let's be real here. Why are feelings hurt about, me saying, hey, you don't know how to properly watch film and evaluate players? That's coming down to an ego thing, right? So it is what it is. That's the most it is. So, hey, listen, I appreciate you. I'm not even here. Me and TD don't get along. That's all I'll say about it. What I said earlier about Omar, that was nowhere near a shot at TD. That was telling all of y'all what happened with that situation and giving y'all the news behind the scenes of what happened in the situation. So that wasn't a shot. Me and him don't get along. Me and him don't see eye to eye. Probably never will. But yeah, that wasn't a shot at him. That was me telling y'all, an example that contradicts what was being said on X about helping out content creators. All right. So that's all that is. Anyways, yeah, I did want to clarify myself on those Arnette comments. I meant, the guy's out on Instagram toting freaking guns. He's getting charges with firearms on him. I mean, like when he's getting pulled over. So yeah, let's bring him in a stand your ground state where if someone says the wrong thing, a guy who's openly brandishing weapons, I wonder how that's gonna go. Yeah, we're still doing it. We're pushing it back. I mean, I was ready to go yesterday. Dougley said he had some things come up, and so he said let's do it Friday on his channel. So that's the plan, Friday on his channel. Yeah, I'll give you a story about that, 110%. I'll give you an example of Omar being a good guy when we were friends, I was going to have Omar Kelly and Nick Hicks on, and Big O stepped in and, shut that down. And Big O said, yeah, I pay you to be exclusive here on this channel. You're not going over there. And I know for a fact Big O and Omar got into an argument at training camp over it because Omar wanted to come on. Remember, him and Nick Hicks weren't seeing eye to eye at the time. And again, what was I trying to do? Build a bridge. All right? Just like, hey, the sideline T-girls will tell you, they didn't get along with Omar. Who built that bridge and got them in good terms? Who hit up Omar and said, hey man, go on their show, bro? Me. Moi. All right? When he had some of them blocked. So again, brother, I got a beautiful wife, beautiful kids, beautiful home. I got all you beautiful people watching me that subscribe to me and support me. Man, I ain't jealous of no one. I'm good over here, baby. I'm gravy. I am gravy. I tell all y'all every time, when we talk about this stuff, I love each and every one of you that support me. Man, I'm good. I'm surrounded by people that love me and support me. I'm good over here, man. I'm secure with myself. I don't have to crash out on Twitter because I'm not secure with myself. I'm secure with myself. Trust me. All right? So, well, let's keep it going. Why shouldn't we, huh? Why not? All right? So, since, man, this is hilarious stuff. This is just fantastic. Everything just keeps coming up reason right now. This is hilarious. So, you guys remember, through the draft process, not only was I the first one in, yes, the media, because guess what? Content creators are the new media. That's just what it is. I don't know what else to tell you. So, that's why they're coming to YouTube. And everywhere, in every sport, not just Dolphins football, in every sport. Okay, let me blanket that one. All right. So, I've been telling you, okay, I was the first one in the media and the only one the week of the draft that mocked Kenneth Grant to the Dolphins at 13 in the Dolphins media. Period, point blank. Thank you. Okay. And I'd been saying it for months, so it wasn't something new. All right. And my patrons and channel members had been knowing since about December, January, what I'd been hearing privately about how infatuated the Dolphins were with him, which ended up being true. So, but through that whole process, okay, I kept saying, and because there were media members in our media that were looking at, they were scoreboard watching a prospect in terms of they saw his size and specifically his weight and his height, and they pigeonholed him at a nose tech. And I kept saying, stop pigeonholing him as a nose tackle, as a zero tech. Stop this and stop calling him a 2-down player. His snaps increased every year at Michigan. Go look at one of his most famous plays when he ran down the Penn State running back. All right, I don't remember. He's either over, I don't remember. He's either, I'd have to go actually look, bring the play up, and I'm not going to do that. But he's either directly over the top of the guard or he's shading the shoulder. I forget which one, but he's doing one of the two. Point is, he's far outside a zero tech and a nose tackle, okay? And I was telling people, stop. This is nonsense. Stop. You can see the athleticism. You can see the movement skills. Don't. All right? Don't put him in that box because you're going to be wrong. Well, here we go. One of those people I was telling not to do it went ahead and did it. And they asked Austin Clark directly, and indirectly, Austin Clark basically says, no, they're not nose tackles. Check it out.
Why 3 noses, though? Is it just 3 college noses?
Yeah.
I don't know what your vision is from here, but that I found that very unique.
Yeah, I think, you may see them as noses. We see them as versatile pieces. I think it's kind of like the analogy I would use for you is, we played nickel defense with Christian and Sealer here for a long time, 2-3 techniques. And you would say, well, you don't have a nose. Well, it's kind of the best available guys you can get and piece together. I think that's the way you kind of look at it. And then we get them all here, and we evaluate what they can do and what they do best, and then we try to piece them in them spots, And I know sometimes based on where these guys, it's interesting. Our group, all of them, I think maybe except one, had multiple D-line coaches in college, which when you talk about development, like maybe there was someone who put a guy in a box and says, hey, this is just it. Or maybe at their college, they didn't have a nose, so they played him a nose, So I always try to stay open-minded with who we got. We're going to find out what they can do, and it's up to them. Their role is going to be what they make it, but they're doing a good job so far.
What was I saying? All through the draft process, stop this nonsense. I was saying it on X, I was saying it on this channel. Austin Clark just basically said that. I mean, again, watch the film. Watch the usage of Kenneth Grant to simply pigeonhole him as a nose tackle. That's not being true to the player, but that's not also being true to the film that's out on him. And then you look at how Austin Clark, like he mentioned, has been with our front. Like Zeke Biggers. Y'all really think Zeke Biggers is just a nose tackle? Have you seen him and how he can move? If you want to pigeonhole one guy as a nose tackle, knock yourself out with Jordan Phillips, but they might even prove you wrong with that because of how the kid can move. Like, are we not watching the tape? Are we not understanding what we are running defensively? Again, part of the thing with watching prospects and watching tapes is being able to project them in certain schemes and their roles in those schemes. And this is why I was telling people, stop pigeonholing him as a zero tech. Really, the only true zero we have on the team is Benito. If you want to take true nose. And it's like, yo, man, like, what are we talking about here? And I'm going to tell you this. Going off what Austin Clark said there, Kenneth's going to have a good year, man. Kenneth's going to have a good year. I mean, we're talking about a guy who was matching Mason Graham's pass rush production from the interior, and he's not as polished and refined as him. He was just winning off pure athleticism, raw power, knowing how to use his length. Like, he was using just pure rawness and winning the way he was. And, either using a swim over to get right through and easily penetrate, or just using power and putting a dude on his behind, and he's free to Penix in the, in the national championship game against Washington, right? So, I mean, again, you got to watch the tape, and then you got to know what you're watching. It was always clear with a man that athletic. Just his athleticism alone, you shouldn't have been pigeonholing him. But the tape also backed that up too. So, it is what it is. So, I don't know. Shout out to Austin Clark for setting the record straight and basically giving us a hint on what Kenneth Grant's usage is going to be. And from everything I'm hearing privately, it sounds like Savai Nye has taken some early reps at left guard too. So, but again, pads aren't on. None of this matters in terms of like where guys are taking reps at right now, right? So, man, I'm excited to see Kenneth Grant in year one. I've told you this before. I truly believe his ceiling is higher than Christian Wilkins. And I've said this. So, truly believe that his ceiling is higher than Christian Wilkins. Now, and you know what? If Weaver's here, I trust him to reach that. All right. So, anyways, let's get into Jalen Ramsey. All right. And this is what Anthony Weaver, because I know fans have been like, hey, is there a chance of reconciliation? Is there a chance that they can fix this, that they can repair this? And this is basically what was said from Anthony Weaver. And if you read between the lines, he's basically telling you it's over and done with.
But this game, things change by the day, right? And I have a tremendous amount of respect for Ramsey. He played very good ball for us. But shoot, relationships are hard, right? And both mutually we've chosen to go other ways, and I respect that, and I wish him nothing but the best moving forward.
Right there, both mutually we've chosen to go other ways. That pretty much tells you it's locked and loaded and it's pretty much over. That, and I mean, again, I was the first one to report about Ramsey and McDaniel's issue. And from that, and from then, I've always heard that he's got no problem with Weaver, Greer, nothing. I don't know. It is what it is, and you talk about Weaver kind of, you can tell Weaver ain't feeling, he's not feeling sorry for himself. And I think they expect guys to step up, right? Because Greer talked about Cam Smith in April, right? And about how they're expecting him to, step up. Obviously looking into Asante Samuel, Rasul Douglas, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I mean? So, and, when Matthew Araujo, the cornerback coach, was talking, he talked about how there's a great opportunity for someone to step up. And about how every NFL player wants this. This is your opportunity. This is your chance. So who's going to step up, basically, right? And again, you look at this. We got Storm Dog, Cater Kohu, Kendall Sheffield Jr., Ethan Bonner, Cam Smith, Arnie Burns, Isaiah Johnson, Jason Maitre, Jason Marshall they just added, BJ Adams they just added, Ethan Robinson from Minnesota. So they usually hit on the UDFA gem. Hopefully they hit this year, and I think they think it's going to be BJ Adams. I think they think they're going to hit on BJ Adams, if you want my personal opinion. I really do. Now, is he going to be Jalen Ramsey? Of course not. But I do think they think they're going to hit on him. 110%. Now, sticking with Ramsey, I'm going to play this segment from NFL Network. So what I've done is I've attached the audio to a still frame of the segment where Cam Wolfe discusses a potential Jalen Ramsey trade and everything going on. The reason for is it's probably going to get demonetized if I play the actual video. And for a 30-second video, that's not really worth it. Check it.
Judy, I checked in with a couple of people on the Jalen Ramsey situation this week, and I was told nothing is imminent. There have been conversations draft weekend and throughout May in regards to Jalen Ramsey. There's interest, but right now there's nothing imminent. There's nothing closing at this moment. It's been relatively quiet, but one thing I was told is to keep an eye on that July 1st date. The Dolphins would take a over $25 million cap hit if they traded him before July 1st. That number drops to under $7 million if they trade him after July 1st. And a lot of people are looking and saying Jalen Ramsey's one of their best players. He's been elite. All of these things are true. But I talked with their defensive coordinator, Anthony Weaver, today about the situation. And his quote kind of sums up why the Dolphins and Ramsey's are here. He said that Ramsey's been a great player for us, but relationships are hard, and he's chosen to move on. This isn't about a guy who wants more money or a guy who can't play anymore. This is just a simple situation where relationships are hard, and the relationship between the Dolphins and Ramsey has essentially run out. I expect him to get traded at some point in June or July. They have talked to a lot of teams. I'm told the Dolphins are aware of teams that Ramsey would be interested in. We've heard the LA Rams and their coaching and GM staff talk and rave about Jalen Ramsey. There's other places where he has had coaches he has loved to play for in the past, whether it be Raheem Morris in Atlanta or Jiro Avero in Carolina. We'll kind of see how the money factors in. That's going to be a big part of it. But for the Dolphins, they're already planning to move on. They're speaking in the past. He's not going to be at OTAs. And for them, they're planning on developing their young corners, including Cam Smith, their third-year player, to try to replace a Jalen Ramsey.
So I have a Patreon and a 3 Takes update that should be coming this week. And one of the things I'm going to talk about is a few teams that Cam did mention that I've also heard are very interested in acquiring Jalen Ramsey's services. Now, Cam Wolfe being the absolute professional he is, he's been on this channel, great, when you look at the top of that South Florida media, I respect them, Barry Jackson, Cam Wolfe, Jeff Darlington, I even think Marcel Louis-Jacques does a very good job. I think David Furones as a reporter does a fantastic job. So, Cam Wolfe does a great job, and he corrected himself on Twitter, and he said, hey, no, I meant June 1st. So just so you guys heard that, and you're like, oh, July 1st was... professionals make mistakes. He was talking about June 1st. He corrected himself. And, I think June's going to have a little bit of noise for sure. June's going to have a little bit of noise, right? You can see it's on the horizon here, and you can see this is all coming down to the financial aspect of it. That's all right now. I think it would have had to, at the draft, like I've told you guys, for them to take on the cap hit they would have had to take on, man, that would have been heavy, right? That would have been a lot, right? And I think you would have had to pony up a really high pick, but I think by waiting it out, they let the draft play out, and apparently, as Schefter said, there are more teams interested in Jalen Ramsey than we think. So that's where we're at with the Jalen Ramsey situation right now. So, Coach Robert Prince, he talked about Tyreek Hill. And what's funny? I did that video. And if you actually watch that video, I said, watch. Something's going to come out. They're going to do something on social media, or they'll talk about him that'll try to counter this video. And then I heard all of this stuff, and it's hilarious because there's one quote that the Miami Dolphins didn't include in the video that they posted from Robert Prince that I'm going to talk about after I play what he said about Tyreek. Check it out.
From a philosophy standpoint, I believe you were with the Cowboys last year. How does it coaching a CD different from coaching a Tyreek Hill?
Well, the thing with both those guys, I mean, they're both phenomenal players and hard workers. Talking about Tyreek again, it's been great. He is a hard worker and one of the hardest competitors. All he wants to do is win. And he brings great energy out of the field, and the guy wants to be coached, and he wants to be great. So that's how I'm going to coach him.
Okay, now something else he's also said was, if I text him, he texts me back. If I call him, he calls me back. He says I'm going to be here. He's been here. He's been great. I've had nothing but positive experiences with Tyreek, and he's a great leader in the room. He also said that. And apparently, something else that was said was he took the wide receiver room out to dinner, right? Prince said that Hill even treated the whole receiver room out to dinner. So you look at what they say about Jalen Ramsey, and it's clear that they're like, okay, it's over, it's done with. You look at what they're saying with Tyreek, man, You know, I know they're quietly, like, they want to separate themselves, and if they could get out of that money, they would trade him. But it seems like they're playing both sides of the fence where, hey, play the PR game where if we do have to stick it out with him this season, at least we don't look like the bad guys. You know what I mean? So, and in the process, we got to do damage control on how this guy has hurt his trade value. We got to start showing him more as a leader. We got to start showing him more as someone who's buying in, so a team might be actually willing to call us and offer us something decent. That could be another play on that. You know, there's so many ways you could take that. You know what I mean? So, because you know, and I know people were like, I had people saying, well, reason why are, you know, they can't show video of him catching the football. He just had pins out. Okay, and you're not wrong. 110% you're not wrong. But guys, Tyreek Hill, he posted a workout video. Like literally, what was it, like a week ago, I want to say? It was a week or 2 weeks ago. He posted like a workout video done by Soul Runner. A bunch of people posted it on Twitter and stuff. You know what I mean? So he was posting videos of him working out. But yeah, he was running routes and his speed and all that kind of stuff. That's what it was. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he was sitting here catching like football after football, but he was working out, running routes. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly in the clip, he had his shirt off too. So, you know what I mean? You can go find the clip. I'm pretty sure he had his shirt off too when he was working out. So, he has posted his own workout videos. So, you know. So, and then now, sticking with the coaches. Obviously, you know, we just brought in Bobby Slowik as the senior pass game coordinator for the Miami Dolphins, right? Obviously, he had the falling out with CJ Stroud and stuff like that. So he was asked about Tua. This is what Bobby Slowik had to say about Tua Tagovailoa.
I think the person as just a starting point is always the foundation of every like really good player I've been around. It always starts with the human being and the person. And I mean, he's an exceptional human. He's really fun to be around. He has positive energy all the time. He's demanding of himself, but he's also demanding of others. You know, what he's been doing out there so far this summer has been fun to see. I mean, he's holding people accountable. He's holding himself accountable. He's really on the details of everything we're doing when we're trying to build the foundations of this stuff. And then as a player, I mean, he's incredibly accurate. He's unbelievable at throwing with anticipation, throwing to space, getting the ball out on time, throwing throws you may not have thought were possible beforehand. You know, he just has a knack for feeling and seeing things that I just don't think a lot of people have in real time. You know, you can see it after the fact on film, but there's a lot of people that can do that. There's not many people that can do it all in the moment. So it's just been fun. I'm excited to keep going. Yeah, you got it.
So, and apparently Zach Wilson and Tua Tagovailoa have had like a pretty decent relationship. I saw a report on it. This isn't anything I've heard. It's just I saw a report on that. Zach Wilson and Tua have been getting along pretty well. But that's exciting to hear from Bobby Slowik after, you know, coming from a place where things were quite tumultuous over there. And obviously he has the 49ers and the Shanahan connection to McDaniel. Obviously, y'all know I hold Darrell Bevell in the highest regard, and hearing him fit in with Darrell Bevell, with Tua Tagovailoa, and with that quarterback room, that's good to hear, man. And everything he said was right. You know, this is why I called Shedeur light, right? Everything he said was right. Look at what he was telling you about the anticipation, you know, and throwing guys to space, and, you know, and the accuracy. He was in so many words calling those superpowers, and in so many words saying he's top tier in all of those facets. Those are strengths, some of the biggest strengths of Shedeur's game too, but he's not top tier and elite in those facets like Tua is. So I think it's very interesting to hear him basically talk about Tua's, as some of us call it, superpowers, right? I think that's very, very interesting to hear. I really do. So, good stuff from Bobby Slowik. Shout out to PHINS1. He says, $50 bomb. Keep doing you, Reason. You the man. No, you the man, Fins one. And all of you are the man and the women for supporting me and having my back the way you do. I appreciate each and every one of you. All right? So, shout out to all of you for constantly having my back. I love all y'all through and through, period. So, it is what it is with these haters. I just keep, I keep it ball. People want to get personal? All right. I'll rebuttal. If you get personal with me, I'll rebuttal. But, I'm not getting personal first. So, it is what it is, man. Appreciate y'all for having my back. And speaking of quarterbacks, the Miami Dolphins went ahead and they waived William Bradley King, and then they signed Brett Gabbert. Listen, I'm going to be completely honest with you on this. Camp body. What else can I say? Camp body. Nothing more, nothing less. They got to carry 4 quarterbacks. Right? Obviously, he's the younger brother of Blaine Gabbert. So, he played at Miami of Ohio. In 2024, he threw for like almost 2,300 yards, 21 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. It is what it is with him. In terms of William Bradley King, the Miami Dolphins aren't missing out on much with that. He was clearly another body. I think they just want 4 quarterbacks for camp, and that's that. So, we'll see. And they're covering all their grounds, right? They want to make sure that they have a quarterback on the roster, right? Because, hey, Tua's going to get hurt. If more than likely, that's what's going to happen. Now, could he have a healthy season like 2023? Sure. But that's probably what they're thinking. The odds are telling us Tua's going to get hurt. Let's try to get in as many people as here possible to see what we got. I don't think Gabbert sticks around beyond the practice squad, but you can tell. That's why they took Quinn Ewers. That's why they added Zach Wilson, right? And speaking of Zach Wilson, I don't know if you heard what Darrell Bevell had to say about Zach Wilson, but oh my Lord, all right? Like, he basically said this guy needs to work on everything. If you read the whole quote, he's like, he's got a gifted arm and he's so special with that, continuing to work on the footwork, and then how to not always have to rely on the arm, and then to be able to use your feet to stay on time, to go with where your feet are telling you that you need to go with the ball. He's really eager. He's really humble. He's what can I do? Need to get better? And I'm just like, in every way, I've been pleasantly pleased and pleasantly surprised by how good he's been. But, they're basically telling you we got to break this guy down from the ground up. Oh, my Lord. And they gave this guy $6+ million a year. Whew. That's crazy. Like, that is... They're basically telling you we got to... and he just came from Sean Payton. And they're saying, yeah, we still got to work on everything and rebuild it. Man. Ouch. Man, I told you. Listen, it's a hot take, I guess, whatever. Man. When you're talking about operating this offense in structure, I think Quinn Ewers, at least long-term, I know, is probably going to be the better option than Zach Wilson. And they gave this guy $6+ million, and they're having to rebuild him from the ground up. Think about this for a second. That is not a good allocation of funds. Ouch. Like, that isn't a ringing endorsement. You can say you're pleasantly surprised all you want, but let's be honest here. That is not a ringing endorsement by any stretch of the imagination. The Dolphins, they announced their preseason schedule. And they didn't announce the dates and times. Well, now they have. Sunday, August 10th, 1 p.m. in Chicago. Saturday, August 16th, against the Lions, 1 p.m. in Detroit. And then they wrap up the preseason on August 23rd at 7 p.m. at home. So far, I know the Chicago Bears have confirmed joint practices with the Miami Dolphins. All right? That's what I know right now. I do not know. Actually, you know what? I think no. Yeah, they have joint practices with the Lions as well, apparently. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, the Lions will have joint practices with them, and so will the Bears. They've already started announcing joint practices. So there you go. We're going to have joint camp with the Bears and with the Lions. I'm sure they're probably going to have it with the Jags as well. Yeah, they are going to have it with the Jags as well. So they're going to have joint practices with all three of these teams. There you go. All three of these teams are going to have practice with. About earlier in the day, they announced the Jags and the Bears. And then later in the day, they announced the Lions, I believe, how it went. So I think that is, hey, man, they do it every year. It's going to be fun. It's going to be awesome. So, that Jacksonville one, we'll see what time it is. You know what I mean? We're going to see what happens. But, yeah, no, Blaine, I said that. I said that video was just him running routes and not catching passes. I said that. Yeah. No, I said that. How the mighty have fallen. Do you remember when we were at the top of this list? Fox just came out with a new top quarterback wide receiver list, duo list, and they ranked us number 10. Number 10. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, that's a legitimate argument. But they got Dak and CeeDee, Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jalen and AJ, Stafford and Puka, Baker and Mike Evans, Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin, Lamar Jackson and Zay Flowers, CJ Stroud and Nico Collins against Tua and Tyreek. And we know why. It's because of Tua being injured last year and Tyreek not being particularly good. Now, if you want me to be objective, about the situation, they're still top 5. If they're healthy and they're good, these guys are still a top 5 duo. All right? Let's be real here. And the problem was, the reason why they dropped was Tua was out. And because Tua was out, the production from Tyreek and really the rest of the wide receiver room plummeted to the point where Jonnu took advantage of it, and Malik Washington looked like a spark throughout the season with us. So, very, very interesting stuff. How that goes. And the NFL announced a new award for the end of the year. The Protector of the Year Award. They are going to start recognizing the best offensive lineman in the NFL. So, man, I want to know, can a tight end win that? Because technically tight ends have to block, right? I wonder if a tight end can win that. That's a real question. But anyways, are they going to rename it the Penei Sewell Award when he's done? Is that what it's going to be? Is it going to be the Penei Sewell Award when it's all said and done? I don't know. But hey, we wanted them to start, I know some people are championing for a quarterback of the year award so you can really separate it from the MVP award and really try to give other players a chance at winning the MVP, not just always quarterback, so making a quarterback of the year award. That might be another thought process too, right? So, is Jonas Savaianaya going to eventually win that award? Huh? What's going to happen here? I don't know. We'll see. A few ooses might win that award. So, guys, do me the favor. Smash the like button. Subscribe if you are new. Appreciate each and every one of you that have come through, that are supporting the channel and supporting what I do. Man, and we are going to keep going this week. I got some more content on the way. So, you know what to do. Keep it locked in. Make sure you hit that little bell so notifications are turned on whenever we go live. I'll keep you locked in and informed, all right? You already know what time it is. Fins up all day, every day. And we will see each and every one of you on the next one. Have a fantastic evening, everyone. Oh, and I love you.